everyone, this is Videogamelover here, and welcome to another review. And I will be reviewing Ghost in the Shell Standalone Complex for the PSP. Now, before I get into this review, you may notice some frame rate dips and me just randomly being stupid. That's because I was battling my Xbox One controller, and again, my laptop sucks. So anyways, this game was developed by G-Artist, and it came out October of 2005 in the US, and I believe it came out September 05 in Japan, and around the same time in Europe. Now this game, you would think that if you heard about it, you may think it's a port of the PS2 game. No, that's not the case. This game is entirely different than what it was on the PS2. In this game, it's a first-person shooter. Very simple pick-up-and-play type of game for Ghost in the Shell. So, of course, the story follows Ghost in the Shell, and in this game, you can select up to 4 characters in this game. You could be either Motoko, Bato, Osaido, and Togusa. And also you can have Tachikoma, who is the Senate tank with you, that can help you get rid of other enemies, and you can even ride with Tachikoma if you want to. So, right out the gate, you may get scared, because first-person shooters on the PSP tend to not work very well, mainly in particular the lack of a second analog stick. So, unfortunately, you're gonna have to be using face buttons as the camera. It's really weird, but once you get used to it, it's actually not that bad. The game actually runs pretty smooth when there's nothing in action, but when there's a lot of action, it tends to dip, but it's not unplayable dip. It actually is pretty suitable for an early PSP game. So the gameplay and the controls feel responsive, even if the frame rate is a little dippy sometimes. So you're going to be able to you will have no trouble getting used to the controls of this game. The graphics in this game are pretty okay for an early PSP game. So I'm not going to be that hard on it, since after all, this is when developers were getting used to the PSP's technology. So that's one thing to keep in note. The graphics may not be the absolute best, but they're pretty solid. The music is hit or miss. There are some songs I kind of like, and there are some songs that I didn't really like. It's just a mixed bag of soundtrack. So the music is hit or miss. Now, one thing that's kind of cool about this game is the voices that you hear are actually the actors from Ghost in the Shell, the anime. So it's really cool that they retain all the original voices of this game. So basically, the object of the game is to either kill a bunch of enemies and just do other things. And you also gotta watch out for Tachikoma. If Tachikoma dies, you lose. But thankfully, you don't lose the entire mission. You only have to start back a certain point. So keep in mind. And also, you gotta make sure Tachikoma is with you. If not, he's gonna bitch about you. He's like, please don't leave me. Like, ugh, it's annoying as hell. So yeah, one thing to know about this game, it's really short. It's about 3 hours long. It only took me just a couple days to beat this game when I had it for the PSP Go, that I played it. So it's definitely a pretty short game. So it's definitely one type of game. Like if you decide, if you're, bored or anything, why not just give this game a shot? It's a pretty decent first-person shooter game for the PSP. Now, as far as the story goes, I can't really go in depth with the story really because I'm not really into Ghost in the Shell yet. I do plan on seeing the anime, especially the one that's based on this, really soon. But if I remember, it had something about that there's this terrorist group that has a virus and that could devastate a lot of security systems and things like that. So you have to stop them from it. But yeah, this game is also on the cheap side. I see this game go for like about $10 on eBay, and I've seen it before for like $6 or something. Of course, I know I can't pick it up because, well, I have a PSP Go. So yeah. But that being said, it's not a bad game at all. Maybe a little rough in some of the edges, like the frame rate could be a little bit iffy, but it's definitely not a bad game. It's also not that hard either. It's a pretty easy game until Mission 17. There was if I recall, Mission 17 was the level that really got me just angry. But outside that, this game is pretty easy, and it has to do with the fact that the lack of the second analog stick. So because of that, you're gonna have a very disadvantage. That's probably why the game is pretty easy for the most part. So, but yeah. Other than that, it's a pretty decent game. If you're a Ghost in the Shell game, I highly recommend it. And if you're just interested in a first-person shooter for the PSP, give this one a shot. It's not that bad. But anyways, guys, this is Videogamelover58. I'll see you guys later. Peace.